is. This is Vance Hines. It's July the 18th. I have not been on social media for a long time. Been having a lot of health problems. So I wanted to give you an update. Tell you what's going on in my life. Tell you kind of some decisions I made where I want to go. I've been July 6th. I had knee surgery. I had my knee replaced on my left knee. Started having a lot of edema, a lot of swelling, fluid in my body. Couple of weeks after the knee surgery, went to the ER, shortness of breath, couldn't breathe. They did a CT scan of my chest and a sonogram of my leg to see if I had any blood clots. They couldn't find any. So they kept me in the hospital for 7 days, running all kinds of tests. They did an echocardiogram of my heart. They discharged me from the hospital. I went in on July 21st. I got out July 27th. Still horrible time breathing. Just fluid. They put me on diuretics, which started helping. I still having trouble with the knee, from the knee replacement, going through knee therapy. My internist sent me over to a pulmonologist, which I met with this week. The diagnosis from the hospital was acute respiratory failure with hypoxia, COVID pneumonia, and shortness of breath. And then they basically told me I had atypical pneumonia. Bacterial type, what does that mean? In the hospital they put me on all kinds of antibiotics and stuff, and then went home with all kinds of antibiotics and steroids. But August the 8th, I began to question whether me taking the opioids from the knee could contribute to whatever condition is causing all the edema. So I quit taking the opioids after the 8th. So I've been opioid free since August 9th. My breathing has continued to get better. I'm feeling better. Finally cleared my nest off the couch to where I got back to a regular. I finally got back in my office in here to work. Finally got back to work on a regular schedule. Still having a lot of breathing problems. The knee therapy is doing really good. The knee's coming along. Went to the pulmonologist this week, and the pulmonologist reviewed my records at the hospital and also reviewed my records from when I went in the hospital for basically the same thing back in 2012. And the diagnosis in 2012 was congestive heart failure. I told the pulmonologist that I thought I wanted to know if there was any credibility or could it be that the opioids did something to contribute to my lungs holding fluid, my body holding the fluid, the edema. And he said that's a possibility, but it's very rare. He will consider it. But after looking at the echocardiogram and some of the blood tests, he thinks the fluid is from the heart. And the way he explained it is that it's basically two sides of the heart. One side brings the blood in sends it to the lungs. It gets oxygenated, and then the other side brings it in from the lungs and distributes it to the body. That's the left side. Well, the left side ventricle is not relaxing completely like it's supposed to. It's not filling up completely. And that is, it's called diastolic dysfunction or impaired relaxation of the left ventricle. And that's what the pulmonologist believes is probably what caused my edema, all the fluid I was retaining. But the rest of the heart is normal, and for basics, for the most part, my heart is normal. And he said that the heart, with age, it's not uncommon for it to stiffen and start having these diastolic dysfunctions. And so since then I began reading up on his theory of what caused it, and I think this guy's right. I think it's probably consistent with what occurred to me in 2012 and consistent with what occurred to me this year. So but we're still running through the tests, and he's gonna, right now I've got a CT scan scheduled next week to see where the fluid or the pneumonia, whatever it is in my chest, to see what the status of it. So I'll know more next week. Man, my breathing has improved a lot, but I'm still restricted, my breathing, and he could still hear crackling in my lungs when I breathe. So I'm not there, but I'm getting there. But I think I've come to the realization, and if he ends up with a diagnosis, and I'm sure I'll have to end up going back to cardiologist, but if he's right that it's that diastolic dysfunction, then that is, from what I can read, it's part of a longer pattern of congestive heart failure. It's like a early progression into congestive heart failure. So it's been an interesting ride. I got diagnosed with congestive heart failure back in 2012. For 5 years, I didn't do anything. And then I went to cardiology. My sole goal in life was to get my kids grown and to get some kind of pension for Mary. I did both in those 10 years, and I also lost a bunch of weight. And, I feel like I've helped a lot of people over 10 years, and so when I walked out of that hospital in 2012, I didn't know if I was going to drop any day or what, but I feel like I had a pretty good 10-year run there. So my goal today is to have another pretty good 10-year run. Is to get to retirement age and vest. I'm vested to get to retirement age and retire, so that Mary has that retirement, and get this weight back off of me and get back into DDP Yoga and get back to helping people. That's what I want to do. I weighed 372 this morning. Maria Picaler, I'm going to have to go back to your weighing philosophy. Dr. Pokerell said I need to be weighing every day to see if I'm retaining any water. Evidently, if I gain more than 4 pounds, then it's a concern, because then I'm retaining water. So, Maria, I'm coming back around to yours. I'll start posting my weigh-ins again every day. I'll make them just short and sweet. I'll try to keep them as short as sweet, since I'm doing it every day. And just start working to get this weight back on. I think if this pulmonologist is right, it explains a lot. So if he's right, and one good thing comes from this, I can still keep eating opioids. So, but anyway, thank you, DDP. Thank you, Bert Kreischer. Thank you, all you guys that sit here and listen to me whine and complain and just spill my heart. You're kind of my therapist. But I'm gonna go start posting everything public again. I got to get this weight off. If I want to be here another 10 years, I got to get this weight off and get that work. Get that off my heart, and try to make it as easy as can. And then figure out exactly what's wrong with the heart, if that's what's causing the edema. But the edema was so bad this time, it was just like the last time. And I went back and looked at the discharge summary from 2012, and they mentioned, just one little mention, that they blamed the right side, which would have been the incoming, for the congestive heart failure. But all those things are right, if I'm not a doctor or whatever, but there's one little blurb in there that the congestive heart failure could have been from diastolic dysfunction. And so, there was one little blurb back in 2012. I wish someone would have told me more about that, because I think now in 2022, it's progressed and gotten worse. And if this pulmonologist is right, I just got to figure out how to slow it down and be here as long as I can. So I appreciate you listening. I hope to get the podcast back up soon. I hadn't been feeling well to do the podcast. I got one I need to get out, and I got one dude I really want to take. Kenny Dunn, I'm coming for you, son. I can't wait to talk to you. He's got a story that I just can't wait to see how personal I can get with him. So, Kenny Dunn, I'm coming for you, son, as soon as I get my shit straight. So, again, thank you, DDP. Thank you, Bert Kreischer. Thank you for all of the well wishes. I think I'm gonna live, and let's make another 10 years, and let's make it this 10 years as exciting as the last 10 years. So, see y'all later.